What did you get to say to Barry, obviously in this iconic scene with your song?
Well, we just laughed quite a lot, first of all. And first, I actually saw him before he realised, because I had a sort of formal meeting with him in the evening at the premiere when we were all in our glad rags. But earlier in the day, I'd got in the lift and I spotted he was in the lift with me. But there were other people, and I thought, I don't think now's the time for me to be like, hey, you've danced naked to my song. You'd be like, bloody hell.
Hey friends, it's your girl Emily Curl back here at our iHeartRadio headquarters in New York City, and we have something so special for you today. We're here with the one and only Sophie Ellis-Bextor is here. Can we give it up for Sophie in our studio? When I say I am so excited for this interview, you have had a wild few months.
Oh, yes. Definitely.
And it is so wild to see. I told you this. Murder on the Dance Floor has been on repeat for me since I saw Saltburn.
Hey.
And it's been so amazing to see this song that was released a while ago have this resurgence and just proof that good music is good music. What is it like for you to see a new audience discover this song, and also the audience already knows it, get to relive it in this whole new way?
I think that I've used two words a lot this year already, magical and bonkers. So those two things are both true. So it's really unexpected. It's extraordinary. I'm having a lot of fun. I love singing Murder on the Dance Floor. I've been singing it very happily since it came out. So it's a really good friend of mine. We've already had over 20 years together. And to have another adventure is really fun.
Oh my God, we love that. And by the way, speaking of another adventure, we have a little thing here for you, a little gift to set the mood.
Oh, yes.
So if you want to just take a moment, this is for you.
Okay.
Just fully to see what we have for you.
Oh, so thoughtful. I have Jacob Elordi's bathwater candle. And actually,
have you tried this yet?
I haven't. I'm aware of them, but I haven't. You see, that smells really nice. I'm not sure. I think they've been a bit coy.
Yeah.
I think they could have been a bit more. I mean, I was expecting something that had maybe more like a sort of salty fragrance, maybe.
Wait, which one is this one? Can I smell it too? This is the. Oh yeah. Okay, but don't you think Jacob might smell like this?
I think, yeah, but isn't the whole point of the candle that it's Felix's bathwater,
Felix's
not
bath
Jacob
water.
Elordi's?
I just want to feel like Jacob Elordi's presence is in the room with us.
Fair enough. Maybe they tried the
Okay, you
Felix
wanna
cat
do
and
the-
bathwater,
you
and
wanna
people
do
were
the
like,
honors?
"Who's that?" Okay, let's do it. Let's
No,
get
it's fine. We
ourselves
bought
in
so
there.
many of these. I was like, we have to have these at our desk.
No, they're definitely fun.
So
Yeah.
we're talking about Saltburn, obviously, which this was. I went into the movie blindly. I didn't know what to expect.
Yeah, me too, to be honest.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
No way.
I didn't know anything about it.
You didn't know anything about it, but you knew your song was going to be in it?
I did, but I
Okay.
didn't really know the context. I just knew what would be happening while my song was playing, which was the whole of the song and none of the clothes.
So that scene was explained to you.
That was all I knew, yes. A little
Okay.
synopsis, but I didn't know anything about the story leading up to that or anything like that. So I trotted along to the screening with my husband and my brother and my mum and my eldest boy. And all together at about 10 a.m. on a weekday morning, we watched Saltburn, which is not your typical family
I was going to say
moment.
that's a full family affair. That is no joke.
I definitely had my head in my hands for a couple of moments. I was sat next to my eldest boy, so he's 19, and on the other side of him was his grandma, and I was just worrying a lot about them and how they were feeling and if they were okay. Yeah.
And 10 a.m., like to wake up and
Yeah.
go to the screening.
I know, but actually we all survived. We could look each other in the eye afterwards, and my boy absolutely loves it. He said it was in his top 10 films he'd ever seen.
No
so
way.
We all loved it, actually. I think it's dark and twisted, but funny and smart as well.
Oh, it's so good.
Yeah.
Let's go back to the beginning for a second. You kind of
This is
touched on
smelling
this.
nice, by the way.
Yeah,
The bathwater is nice.
Yeah, the bathwater. You mentioned this, but when did you first find out that this was going to be in the film and that this was going to be like a major moment?
Well, two very separate things, actually. So I knew about the film probably about a year before I saw the screening. And as I said, I didn't really have much context. I was very trusting of it because Emerald Fennell said that she was the writer and director, and I'd seen Promising Young Woman, so I was like, oh yes, she's great.
Incredible.
And I felt very flattered, actually, that she'd asked to use my song. And then in the summer of last year, I started hearing murmurs that the soundtrack was really great. And then it was really when I saw the screening, I was like, God, what a brilliant film to be part of. And I felt very happy to be like, a little part of this, great thing.
I saw an interview that Emerald was talking about how she wanted to use Murder on the Dance Floor at some point. Did she ever tell you why she felt like this was the scene for it, like this was the moment?
I think she said that there was something about the track being celebratory, but also sort of hedonistic. And I think quite sort of there's a sort of, well, I hope, a kind of coolness in the lyric, because when I was writing it, I didn't want it to be too keen. I felt like the song was written by me and a guy called Greg Alexander, and both of us had this idea about it being about being out and on the dance floor and that sort of peak moment. But I didn't want it to be keen. I wanted it to be a bit flirty, but also kind of safe in its own little world, like not needing anything from anyone else. So I think that kernel of hedonism is what appealed to Emerald as well, maybe.
Watching it on the screen, did it take on like a whole new interpretation of the song than when you first released it or first had the idea of it?
Absolutely, and everything that happens with my music once you've released it informs it. You know, you record a song in the studio, and then as you play it live and you see how people interact, the song grows, and it grows layers, and it blossoms, actually. So what's happened with Saltburn and Murder on Dancefloor has now forever changed the story of the song and how I feel about it, actually. It's evolved, but that's the magic of music, actually. It's not stationary.
Yeah.
It keeps going, and new people discover it, and it becomes part of other people's stories, and I love that.
Has it changed like your day-to-day life since like having this big resurgence?
I don't know. You know what? It's probably a bit soon to tell, because all of this has really just been happening since the start of this year. So we're only, still at the beginning of 2024, and I feel like I've been a bit eye of the storm for a lot of it. But I'm definitely having some new adventures. I've got my first ever band show in New York happening, pretty much because of what's happened with Murder on Dancefloor. So, lucky me. I'm playing at the Webster Hall.
The Webster Hall, okay.
Yeah, on the 6th of June. And so this is the first ever show I've ever done in America. But this is part of a few shows I'm doing in America.
How does that feel? Your
My
first
New York
ever.
show.
I can't believe that. How does
You
that
know
feel?
what? I love what I do so much, and being able to have firsts and new experiences after I've been singing for like 25 years. That's a privilege. And I don't do it on my own. I'm bringing my band with me, so there's a lot of excited people that are connected with what I'm up to, and it's just going to be fun. We're just going to make it extra special.
Yeah.
Lucky me.
Yeah. I want to go back for a second because you mentioned Emerald, the director, and I'm
Yeah.
such a fan of hers. Had you guys met previously or prior, or was there always a relationship there, or did it kind of come about because of the film?
I actually had been talking to her sister, actually. So her sister, Coco, is a clothes designer. She makes beautiful dresses.
Wow.
So I'd spoken to her a little bit. And no, I had never met Emerald until I'd watched the screening, and then we went out for lunch with her afterwards. And my husband and my son, Sonny, were with us, and we were all having a chat about things. And I just thought, I don't know if you've met her, but she's really lovely and charming and smiley and funny. And then you're thinking, how is all that darkness in there as well? Like, I'm so impressed that she could have all those ideas and then bring them to fruition. I think I'd be too prudish to be like, guys, I've had this idea, just trust me on this one. I'd be a bit like, I've had an idea, oh, don't worry about me, no, it's silly, and you're going to think I'm weird. So she's kind of encouraged me to think, actually, if you've got a vision, just go for it.
Ooh, that's good. What about the other cast members? Have you met any of the other ones?
I have. I've met the man whose bathwater we're smelling, and
Go on, let's hear.
yeah. So I was lucky enough to be invited to go and sing at the premiere of the movie back in November in Los Angeles.
Yeah.
So my husband Richard and I went over to DJ, and I sang Murder on Dancefloor at the party. So I met Jacob and Barry Keoghan and Carrie Mulligan, and yeah, it was great, and Emerald and Archie Madikwe. So yeah, we had a great time, and there was such positivity around the film. They clearly all adored making this film and feel very connected.
What did you get to say to Barry, obviously in this iconic scene with your song?
Well, we just laughed quite a lot, first of all. And at first, I actually saw him before he realised, because I had a sort of formal meeting with him in the evening at the premiere when we were all in our glad rags. But earlier in the day, I'd got in the lift and I spotted he was in the lift with me. But there were other people, and I thought, I don't think now's the time for me to be like, hey, you've danced naked to my song. You'd be like, oh, bloody hell. But yeah, no, I did have a little giggle with him, and I just hope he's not too... I feel like, when people go to those hypnotist show and then they hear a song and then they're like, when you hear this song, you will believe you are Madonna or something. I hope he's not like, every time he hears murder, just like the clothes start coming off. He might be, it's forever changed for him. But I do think he did a brilliant job.
He did such an amazing job.
It's a great performance in the whole film, but also just to give the song that moment of pure, like, celebratory dark triumph. I just adore it.
It's so cool to see on socials, like, again, how people are interpreting it. How many times have you been tagged in people doing that dance to Murder on the Dance Floor on TikTok, Instagram? I'm sure it's taken over.
Yeah, and also what's crazy is when the song first came out, that didn't exist. So when I first released Murder, I had to wait till I was doing a show to see how people felt about it and get that energy. And so through social media, having a glimpse into where people are taking the song, how they're interacting with it, it's glorious, and everybody that's danced to it, I share it with them. That it's their song too. So yeah, we can all be connected by that, which I think is the power of music, really.
We were talking about that too, of like when it first came out in the 2000s, early 2000s. What else were you listening to at that time? Like, what was in the 2000s Brit pop punk scene?
So 2000s for me was all about discovering dance music and disco music. In the 90s, I was an indie kid. I loved Britpop, and I'd been in an indie band. And then from 2000 onwards, I'd really discovered dance and disco and was going back to like all my pop sensibilities, really. And I realised that pop music was where all the dots joined up of all the things I'd ever loved. So that's why I made a pop album, and I still love pop very much.
Yeah. Is there another song from that time that you wish like would have a comeback or a resurgence that you really love?
I guess it's hard to answer that, because the beauty of music is there are some songs that everybody hears all the time, and then there's your songs that became your own soundtrack. So I think I'm always revisiting songs from different points of my life, because I think music allows us to time travel and, you know, step back into a memory in a way no other medium does, really. And I think that's the beauty. That's why music becomes, you know, what's your first dance at your wedding? What's the song that makes you think of that holiday? What do you want played at your funeral? Like, songs can articulate emotions in a way that nothing else can. So I don't really need songs to have a resurgence. I just go and listen to them. I just step back into it.
Yeah. For the new audience that's discovered you maybe from Murder on the Dance Floor, what songs or album would you direct them to next of your catalog?
Golly, I mean, look, if you like what Murder on Dance Floor is about, then welcome to my world. Like, that's totally what makes my heart beat faster too. So I've made album after album with that sort of pop, dance, disco sensibility, because I adore it. But I really just feel like if forever I'm just the Murder on Dance Floor lady to you, that's fine. If you want to delve deeper, I've done 7 albums, I've done all sorts, you know, go for it. But I'm just sort of welcome, really.
Yeah.
Like, come and find me live, and then let's see if we can have a bit of fun.
I cannot wait for the New York show. It's going to be so epic. We have a game for you.
Okay.
You're the queen of murdering it on the dance floor. So we thought we could give
Sounds
you some...
sinister, but I'm happy for
Give
it.
you some scenarios.
Okay.
And we're going to put some people up head to head in a dance battle. You have to tell me who you think is walking off alive. Who's going to crush it?
Oh, wow.
Are you ready for this?
Yeah.
Okay. Usher versus Beyonce.
Okay, so obviously I just watched Usher on the Super Bowl thing. He was amazing. His dancing, I forgot how good he is. But
so good.
you cannot... Beyonce, that's flipping Beyonce. So it's her,
It's
isn't
Beyonce
it?
every time,
It's
of course.
100% her.
David Beckham versus Victoria Beckham.
What a scrap. I think it's definitely Victoria, don't you?
I don't know. I could see David kind of pulling out some chops, like some secret moves.
I don't know. I went head to head with Victoria once as well.
And how did
We
that go?
released songs on the same day back in 2000. Well, actually, my song got to #1, so I guess that's another battle you can write down.
Nice. So you murdered it. You murdered
You know,
it.
since then, she's been spending a lot longer in the gym than I have, so she'd probably completely trump me now. She'd be like, get me in an arm lock before I could even finish saying her name.
Okay, what about this one? Spice Girls versus Destiny's Child.
Oh, I've got to go for Spice Girls. I know Destiny Child are amazing, but I'm a Brit, and they're so much part of British pop culture, and they were so incredible. Like, I loved their rebellion, you know? Destiny's Child for the, like, absolute, like, precision of the performance, but I like the unexpected. You can't beat a bit of that, and that's what the Spice Girls were so good at. They had that little rebellious streak.
That's a good
bit
take.
of naughtiness, you know?
A little naughty, yeah.
Yeah.
Barbie versus James Bond.
Oh, come on, it's got to be Barbie. She's got her finger on the pulse. James Bond has had to do a little bit of thinking for how to keep up with where we're at in culture.
Yeah.
Whereas Barbie sat down, had to think about it, and they made a film that summed it up. So,
She
yeah,
gets it. She gets
Barbie.
it. What about SpongeBob versus Garfield?
Tricky one. I think Garfield would be too... I mean, he wouldn't even bother to stand up. It's a lazy, fat cat.
But he's got like a little swag. He's got some moves.
It's true, but I
But
feel
SpongeBob's so
ultimately-
well loved.
Yes, yeah, and you know, you just can't beat a sponge. That's basically what they teach you in martial arts: absorb, and then push it back. The sponge is going to win.
He's got a leg up. Okay, what about J-Lo versus Shakira?
Oh, don't make me do that. They're both phenomenal. I have to say that is my favourite halftime performance ever.
Ever?
I was just like, I want to be both these people when I grow up. Like, they were just so good.
Both icons.
So nah, they're just gonna hug it out. They both like they've already had that moment and they
already won.
decided we both win.
I love that. Okay, what about Carrie Bradshaw versus Emily in Paris?
Right. Well,
Honest thoughts on this one.
I think given Emily in Paris's ability to pack such a wardrobe into luggage she took to Paris, I'm going to go for Emily. I've actually, I don't know if I should confess this, but my husband and I have watched a lot of Emily in Paris, and he just cannot get over the fact she's got all these clothes with her on a work trip. So
That's the one hang up.
yeah, exactly. He's like, it's another outfit. She's brought another outfit. I'm like, it's a TV show where the fashion is part of the story. Like, just get over that fact.
Oh, it's so, yeah, because at least with Carrie, we see the full closet. We know where she's storing her
lives there.
clothes.
She's definitely got all the clothes. They're in her house.
Yeah, they're there.
Emily's packed that stuff.
Wow. It's like, yeah, it's magic.
So her.
Last one. Barry Keoghan versus Jacob Elordi. Who's winning?
Well, we already know, don't we? Jacob thinks it's him, but then it's Barry, isn't it?
It's Barry. It's Barry. I'm a Barry girl, for sure.
Yeah, we know he's triumphant. We know who won.
Sure is. Sophie, thank you so much for being here. This was so fun. We so appreciate you. Can we give it up one more time for Sophie Ellis-Bextor in our studio? This was so great. Before I let you go, do you have some new things happening? Give us the full rundown. You have a show in New York.
Yeah, show in New York, more gigs. I'm doing a European tour next month as well. Yeah, it's just sort of like loads of shows. Supporting Nile Rodgers and Chic in the UK as well. And more albums. I'm making an 8th record. So
exciting.
Just more of the same.
Lots happening.
And maybe a scented my bathwater.
You should do your own line. We'd buy it.
Yeah, it'll smell at least as good as this, I hope.
We love you, Sophie. Thank you. One more time, Sophie. So great. Thanks so much for watching. Did you like that video? You can check out more over here, and don't forget to subscribe to iHeart right here.